It's crazy. I'm so stoked to have you. You came in like a tornado today, energy through the roof, and it's really extraordinary when I think, so you're an international motivational speaker, you've really come from the bottom and now you're here.
Yes, sir.
And it's a really extraordinary story. It's one of the most extraordinary stories I've ever heard in my life. Wow. And I want to start with the concept that you have that the best gifts come from the bottom. What does that mean?
When I was younger, I had a learning disability and I was always behind. I was always at the bottom, but sometimes sports and other things would keep my confidence high. And I used to hate being in the neighborhood I was in. I used to hate not being able to get the designer shoes or the nice things that most of the, some of my peers had. And as I grew, and as I started to excel in football and start to meet amazing coaches like Terry Boughton and John Featherstone and so many more, I started to realize that I wasn't hurting. That's where I was being made. And that's when I made a decision and made the quote that the best gifts come from the bottom. Because
meaning you were actually learning something from going through the hard time?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's frame for people though what that looked like, because I would say of all the people I've met, you're in sort of the top 1% of you'd be justified in being bitter, but you're not. Yeah. So tell me about your mom and your dad. I think that's a pretty powerful place to start.
Absolutely. My mother started off with in a terrible situation. My grandmother moved from Monroe, Louisiana to Pontiac, Michigan. First she started running numbers. Then she started selling crack cocaine. She taught all 7 or 8 of her kids how to cook and sell crack cocaine.
This is your grandma?
My great-grandmother. And my mother started to sell it at 14 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah, she was selling. She had her own, basically, trap house, drug house that she sold dope out of. She was introduced to it very young. And some way, she had got pregnant by my father, and she gave birth to me at 16 years old. She had my sister at 15, had me at 16. We stayed in a bedroom apartment on the north side of Pontiac, Michigan, and I just saw my mother battle a lot of demons. I had to basically be a man and the woman, and she taught me how to fight. She taught me how to treat women. She taught me everything, and it was so remarkable because this is a young girl that never had a chance to be a young girl, molested by her father as a child. And what caused my mother to abuse drugs from the age of 23 and up was the fact that she never got help. She literally took me around my grandfather. That's the strength that she had. And this was the same man, and I didn't find out about this until the day that she passed away.
Oh.
And my mother was a woman that she wanted to give way more, but she couldn't. And Tom, what I'm saying is, as a kid, you can walk in the house and see your mother and she smile. But when you look in her eyes, you can see the pain. You could tell that she's smiling for me, but she's hurting inside. She's fighting for me as well. So as we went on and went through that, my mother had got a job at a senior citizen home. And I remember this is when life was getting good, Tom. Our vacations was my mom going out getting a pizza from Big Mama's house. There's this place in Pontiac called Big Mama. The pizza was humongous, and Blockbuster was still open. We would walk down to Blockbuster and grab a Big Mama's pizza. That was my Disneyland, Tom. We'd go home, and my mom would get her little checks, and she'll buy us food. She was finally able to buy us things. And I remember this. One day, she came home and she was crying. And she started talking to one of her friends she had, and she said, this was all I had. And I seen a job that she loved. She loved taking care of people. She didn't have a degree. She couldn't read that well, but she was very good with people. And because she didn't have a degree, they fired her. They fired her, and that was the day, Tom, that my mom was gone.
Because it just broke something inside of her
She
emotionally?
couldn't take care of us. It's two type of people, Tom. It's people that's addicted to taking, and it's people that's addicted to giving. Some people, if they can't take, they can't breathe. Some people can't give, they can't breathe. I get it from my mother, honest. If I can't help and give, I don't feel like I'm living. So what I realized with my mother was she was learning how to be a mother the whole time. And she was giving us everything she had every single day. My brothers and sisters would be angry sometimes because every once in a while they would take us away. I'll go to my grandmother's house, or I'll go back and forth to my mom's house. And even some nights when my mom was getting high, I would sneak out my grandmother's house and sneak in DRUG5